How's it going, guys? So, this week I'm going to be working on my charcoal forge. I actually have two charcoal forges. This one sits on top of the other. The other one is a pot forge, but unfortunately I can't get long lengths of material into the pot forge because I have to go down into the pit. So instead I made this channel forge, basically mimicking early Celtic and obviously later Japanese style forges. The unfortunate part was that when I lined this forge, I used what's called Lanco 150, which is a fireplace cement used for pizza ovens and stuff like that, as mortar between the bricks. Unfortunately, it's not really designed to stand up to the forge temperatures. It's more of a refractory for low temperature fires. So when I used it, as you can probably see in the camera, I'm not sure if you can, yeah you can, it actually melted the lining around the blower. And I've relined this twice with Lanco 150, and both times the flame has ended up melting the refractory into slag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sweep out that. I'm going to chip this stuff out, and this has already started to crack, so I should be able to chip it out relatively easily. And we're going to reline it because I've bought some Satanite, which is quite a bit more expensive than the Lanco, but will definitely make a more heat-resistant forge. But first, I've got to knock all of this stuff out. So you'll notice I only removed half of the refractory. Half of that, part of that is because the Satanite is incredibly expensive and I don't want to be using too much of it. The other part is that the heat that comes over to this side of the forge isn't normally hot enough to melt the refractory, whereas the heat that surrounds the blowpipe is. It's definitely hot enough. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, this blowpipe has been severely mangled by the heat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut myself a section of 32mm pipe, which is going to go over the top of that to protect it from the heat a little bit better. And then what we'll do is we'll mix up some refractory and start molding. Important not to mix in all of your water at once because you might overdo it. If I add too much water in, then we're going to end up with a slurry rather than a concrete, which is what I want. Now the easy way to do this would be to have a mixer on a drill, but I don't have a mixer attachment, so doing this all the old-fashioned way. Nothing but elbow grease, as Alec would say. And Nathan's now stopped forging so that he can help me film, because unfortunately my phone camera mount broke. This is about the right consistency. So now there's just going to be a bunch of mixing until it's smooth, and we'll be ready to rock. Or concrete, as it is. So, I've got my Satanite mixed up. It's relatively thoroughly mixed. And as you can see, I've got gloves on. Now, working with any kind of concrete, a lot of them have astringent agents in them, which is agents that are designed to remove moisture. And they can crack your hands up really bad unless you're careful. Either wear gloves or moisturize after you use them. A lot of guys will say don't use moisturizer, it's girly, but at the end of the day, they're not the ones that are going to end up with cracked and bleeding hands. So all I'm going to do is take some handfuls and I'm going to lay it around the blower tube and the bottom of the forge. Now I don't need to go too high on the back wall here because most of the heat's going to be blasting out this way. But what I want to do is get a fairly good coating over the forge hole, over the blower hole. And that'll give me protection for the steel because that will oxidize away over time. It's more of a mold for the clay than an actual tube. I just lay it on thick. Try and keep it clean. Not that I'm doing a very good job of that. And I can blend it in to the other wall. And I only have to do this roughly because then I'm going to come back over it and true it all up afterwards. Don't want any of that forge floor showing through the steel, because that will affect it in the future. And at this viscosity it will run down a little bit, so if I lay it up high it's going to probably fall a little, which is why I'm making it relatively thin, is because it's going to kind of slip down into the bottom of the forge and thicken up those walls around where the heat's going to be. And as I said, I don't need a lot of material around there. Just get the last scrapings. And that's going to be a far more heat resistant coating than the Lanco was. And what I can do is I can chip out anything that's in that blower tube after it's set up. Obviously the blower tube carries on out here to where the blower is, which is a hairdryer duct taped onto it. In true redneck fashion, but all I can do is ram a piece of Rio through there and clear out that pipe once it's all set. I could do it wet, but it's not really necessary, so I'm not going to bother. And you'll notice inside the forge here, the blower hole is slightly above the bottom of the forge, and that's to let any detritus, any dust or ash kind of collect underneath where the fire is. So that you don't get really nasty build up inside your blower hole, which would mean that the forge wouldn't fire properly. It helps to clear it, and obviously I'll do a video on running a charcoal forge very soon, obviously, now that I've got it running. But yeah, we'll make it work. So I'm just going to scrape off the rest of the Satanite on my gloves, and I'm going to use this file to even out the forge bottom. And what I can do is just kind of use it as a screed almost to get even. If there's any holes, just kind of fill them in. It's very sticky, this Satanite, so it helps to kind of clear off any excess occasionally. But that looks good, I think. Just going to lay that over the top of the blowhole. Again, got to protect that steel that's in there from the heat. And what will happen is that this lip here of steel will probably end up getting oxidized away, but that will protect, that will mean that the air can release upwards a little bit as well over time. I probably should have cut that at an angle, but you know, it'll work. And there you go, that's pretty much a relined forge. Fairly simple to do. I've seen people do it with just standard everyday pottery clay. I'm not sure of the refractory element of pottery clay. I wouldn't have high hopes for it withstanding forge welding temperatures. This stuff is specifically designed to withstand those very, very high temperatures that the forge can create when blasted at full heat. So I have no doubt that this is going to stand up to any abuse I can put it through. But yeah, so hopefully very, very soon you're going to see me do some videos on charcoal forging. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was just a short one this week. I promise there's going to be some more interesting stuff coming out soon. The Basilard Part 3 will be coming out next week. Also, make sure you check out Flynn Sharp's channel. He is going to be uploading his part of the Wakizashi build where he grinds and polishes and heat treats. Hopefully that'll be in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, if you haven't already subscribed, please do. I really appreciate everyone who comes to join the family here and help me get along in my journey of learning how to blacksmith properly. And if you haven't hit the like button, make sure you do that. And if you have subscribed but are not getting updates, just hit the bell icon. That'll let you know when I upload a new video. And seeing as I upload every week, there's always going to be new content for you to have a look at. Anyway guys, I'll see you in the next one.